So Maria, thanks so much for joining us today. It's great to have you as part of the forum. Now I know you've been involved and on the ground working on the housing project, and it's just a great opportunity for us to talk to you about the process and everything that was involved. So to begin with, can you just give us an idea of how the model actually operates?
Well, it's a cluster of 25 apartments around shared space, like a common room, a laundry, a guest room, a lovely big garden, etc.
Mm-hmm.
And 26 women are living there. And it's a very modern, age-proofed, friendly, light, airy building, which was only completed at the end of 2016. So they've been living in it just under 4 years. Now, the difference that it's had 8 architectural awards, right? So it's a really nice building. The group participated in designing it with the architects,
Mm-hmm.
which is one of the features of co-housing. When people come to see the building, I generally point to them to the social architecture rather than the physical, because what makes this distinctive as a development and very different from almost all the other provisions for older people in this country is that it is run entirely by the group of women themselves.
Mm.
So they manage the building, they manage their own community, they take the decisions together by consensus. They've got a good age range,
Mm-hmm.
which was designed in. They've got an age range of about 36 years. So we call them intergenerational. So the youngest is about 55 and the oldest is 92
Mm-hmm.
next week.
Oh, fantastic.
So what I'm building up for you, I hope, is a sort of a mixed kind of community of women. They're 2/3 of them have bought their flats and 1/3 are renting them with subsidized rents.
Okay.
And that's
So how does that work then? That subsidized rent model, the whole funding operation. How did that work?
Well, we originally funded it through a gift from a charity who wanted us to succeed as the first senior co-housing community in the UK. And the 8 flats that exist on a subsidized rental basis have a landlord. In our setup, we have housing associations who kind of like are the intermediary between the state and public money and the individual. So there's a small landlord for the 8 flats. Actually, they don't figure very much. They come and do repairs and things for those 8 flats, but that's about it.
Mm.
The whole place is run and managed by the group.
Wow.
And the renters themselves are women who couldn't afford to buy. That's the only distinction that there is with them, really. I mean, there's no distinction in the group. They have as much right to make decisions as anybody else, and you actually can't tell the difference. There is no difference. The chief asset of the building is the fact that you can come there and you can spend the rest of your life there.
Mm.
You don't have to move out because it doesn't accommodate you getting old. It is totally age-proofed and wheelchair-friendly. I can imagine that if probably some people will get demented. If people get demented, they may have to move out. But actually, it's a very safe environment for them as well, because there's only one access to the whole building, and all you have to do is put a keypad on that, and somebody who's confused and wandering would be quite safe.
So what about, how was the project set up initially, and how long did it take you to do it?
It started from work that I did as an academic in Holland. I was researching co-housing that was developed by the Dutch over the last 3 decades. The Dutch have had a much more proactive approach to an aging society than we have here in England. Already in the 70s and 80s, they were asking 50-year-olds, how did they want their old age to be? Because there are going to be many more of you. We weren't asking that question here. the Dutch government, successive Dutch governments, encouraged the development of these, what they call living groups, because they reckoned it was a better way for older people to live. And that it would keep them happier and more active and healthier, and therefore reduce their demands on health and social care budgets. So I went over to look at that, and I brought the model over from Holland, set up a workshop in London for women from all the different women's networks. Mm-hmm. And a group of them went away and became Ouch, the Older Women's Co-Housing Group. They decided that they'd been talking about it, as so many women do, but never get around to it. They decided they would do it, and I helped them. I mean, I raised money to come up and help them. I was living in Wales at the time. And it took us a very long time because we didn't have the recognition factor that you had in Holland. Nobody knew what co-housing was among older people. And there wasn't an infrastructure of support for them. So because the group was very intent that it wanted to be inclusive of women who didn't have enough money to buy their own places, we also needed a housing association. And I think we went through about 8, and they were kind of interested for 5 minutes and then lost interest. We got something like 3 or 4 sites in London. We lost each of them because land is very difficult here and expensive. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't, I mean, took a very long time, but I'm hopeful that isn't going to be repeated, because we have paved the way now for other groups. Mm. In fact, I'm working with another group who have learned an enormous amount from what we did, and will accelerate the process. And there's a lot more support and recognition of the benefits of co-housing now because of what we've done. And because of the film we made and all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. We were lucky in the sense that we found a housing association who said, right, we will fund it for you and we will develop it for you, which they did. And we're eternally grateful to them. They bought a piece of land for us, which, I mean, we chose the piece of land, they bought it. They let us choose the architects. They let us participate in the design. We were represented, I and another person sat on the project management board all the way through the construction and supervised the construction to an extent. So the group didn't have to part with any money except for give deposits at a certain crucial stage. When they needed, the housing association needed the security of tying us in, that we wouldn't all just leave them with an empty building. And also to improve cash flow. Yeah. So
those of you that owned put your money in at that point then, did you? Or did you
the group put 10% deposits of the cost of their flats, each individual. And at the end of 2016, they bought their flats from the Housing Association. And the small landlord bought 8 flats from the Housing Association with the help of this charitable grant that we got.
Ah, fantastic.
They've customized them in their own way. They had some choice about colors, and did they want this kind of kitchen or that kind of kitchen? Did they want that kind of bathroom or this kind of bathroom? So they had some choice in the beginning, but you can't give a group like that too much choice because it would just get too costly.
Yes.
When I go into individual flats, they're all very different, very much sort of advertising the character and personality of the person who lives there. They had all committed to a set of core values like mutual respect, cooperating, working against ageism, not setting up any hierarchy, looking after the environment, integrating with the locality, that kind of thing. So those are the key core values which they revisit every year together, actually. But you can be off from that, be as different as anything, and they are very different in the group.
Well, Marie, thank you so much for sharing that with our audience and being honest about the journey and the path you took. And congratulations on your work, because you really were the backbone to this whole project. And congratulations to everybody, all the women that are living so successfully together now as a result of all that initial work. That's not an easy thing to pull off. So you've done
The
very
real
well.
test, the real test will be whether we pull the next one off, and I'm
That's
working.
it. That's it. Okay,
So good
Maria.
luck with your conference.
Thank you so much. Thank you
It
very
goes
much.
well. Greetings to everybody.
Thanks.